All right. Starting the BS podcast here with Rob Mahoney and Joe House. Are we sober house? Are we
Mm.
buzzed? What
It's
where are we?
late night house. We'll see.
Late night house.
We'll see what the cards give us.
Groggy, like a little letting it loose house, unlike Andrew Nemhard today.
Mm.
We're doing this live on YouTube. I thought this was going to be an awesome game today, and New York had other ideas.
Yeah.
A couple of the Pacers had other ideas. Did New York figure anything out today, Mahoney, or did Indiana just suck?
I think they figured out how to play defense like they had something to lose. I think there's games where the Knicks' defensive problems are personnel based, are schematic. That's been the
Hmm.
case in this series to some extent. In this game, I didn't think they changed a ton. They changed some. Mostly they just played with actual intensity, especially on the perimeter, to the point that it did feel like the Pacers kind of forgot for a while that they were allowed to move into the direction of the basket. Like it was all side to side. It was all handoffs up top. Once Ben Mathurin came in and decided to cut and they decided to drive a little more, the game changed a bit. But I thought the Knicks perimeter defense pressured them out of a lot of their stuff. And they deserve a lot of credit for that.
What'd you think, House?
Um, the Knicks did the thing that's most important in basketball, which is make the shots.
Mm.
They started off by the making of the shots in the first quarter, and that had the effect of keeping the Pacers from running. So we
Mm.
had two quarters from the Pacers where they scored less than 25 points. They scored 45 points in the whole first half, 23 points first quarter, 22 points second quarter, because the Knicks did the making of the baskets, Bill Simmons.
And Indiana stunk.
Not a good game from them.
It's pretty tough when Ben Mathurin saves you from having like a 75-point game, which is where we're headed.
Yeah.
And the stats reflect how bad it was, but it was even worse watching it. Neesmith was 1 for 8. He only played 15 minutes, by the
Yeah,
way.
they seemed like they were limiting him with that
Once,
ankle probably, and that I mean Jalen Brunson feasts every minute that Neesmith isn't on the floor.
yeah. And once they kind of realized maybe the game was a little behind them, they started to get a little more careful. Nemhard was 3 for 8. It felt worse. 3 turnovers. Turner,
Yeah,
24 minutes, 5 points, 4 turnovers, and a couple of like really just awkward offensive moments 25 feet from the basket where he's like trying to dribble against Mitchell Robinson. Like, there was one time he just kind of fell out of bounds. It was like I thought the biggest thing the Knicks did today, other than pressure Halliburton and just make it more difficult for him on defense, was they felt like they were attacking Miles Turner, Rob.
yeah,
Like, oh, you're gonna have the ball, I'm coming at you.
completely. And he's been beating up on their smaller defenders all series against mismatches, and they were swiping really well to kind of dislodge him. They were fighting for position much more effectively. You
Yeah.
mentioned like on the perimeter, there's times where Miles Turner looks like a great athlete, and then there's times where it looks like one of his legs is like a dramatically different length than the other, and he can't quite move in any
Right.
kind of like fluid manner. Brought that side out of him to the point that like Mitchell Robinson at some points was pressuring Miles Turner up to half court. Like they just wouldn't let him
Yeah.
move at all, much less get into that little handoff game.
Yeah, it's weird. The Miles Turner free agency tape is going to have to be a carefully edited 20-minute highlight tape, House, but I think the 20-minute highlight tape will be excellent.
It can't have anything to do with Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean,
No.
I think Cat has found the opposing center that he's most comfortable with in the entire NBA. And
Yeah.
it's a version of Cat, that man going to the rim with ferocity, relentless ferocity, and his, making himself into a true New York Knick. You could see the crowd get super fired up every time he went to the rack and banged Turner out of the way and got his and really he and Brunson set the tone in the first quarter
Yeah.
with that intensity that they brought, and they controlled the flow of the game in the first quarter. And it was weird that the Pacers didn't really have any kind of retaliation.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest we got was that 10 points with 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
a
they
couple
kind of
missed
got there
threes.
again in the fourth quarter, but really, they just never got there, Mahoney.
Yeah, but to that point with Cat, it was really telling that this series for him has become not really a post-up series, not really a three-point shooting series. It is drive past Miles Turner, drive past Pascal Siakam. Pacers have
Yeah.
nobody who can stay in front of him so long as Cat can stay out of foul trouble. And granted, he had about 3 or 4 dumb fouls in this game. I think he easily could have been called for 5 or 6. A shove here or there that just didn't get whistled, and maybe this game is very, very different. But he definitely showed up. Brunson definitely showed up. Like those guys had to deliver, and the depth also did. Like honestly, just might be the best Landry Shamet playoff run we've ever seen from him.
Has there been a Landry Shamet playoff run?
This is the thing. He tends to be the guy who comes into the playoffs and just immediately disappears. Like way too small, gets boxed out of series, too streaky a shooter to really make a difference. This guy was like freezing TJ McConnell in the lane, like killed dribble on the baseline, completely stalling out the Pacers offense. The pressure that Shaman and Delon Wright have brought to the series, I think has been like a really meaningful thing, which is crazy to say.
McConnell was another one who sucked tonight. Really everybody in the Pacers, you look through, Mathurin has 23 points and they scored 94 as a team. That's pretty rough. The Towns piece of it, I still feel like anytime a team isn't just completely attacking him on defense, House, especially once he gets to 4 fouls, I would just go at him every play because I just feel like law of averages, he's just going to foul somebody. It was funny to hear Van Gundy on this 3-man team we had tonight, and we've had all through the playoffs.
Your favorite.
Both conferences. Just poor Kevin Harlan. His usage rate is all-time low. He's basically like Mikal Bridges in those games when he has 6 shots in 48 minutes. But it was funny to hear Van Gundy just openly saying like they shouldn't put Towns back in. He's just crazy enough to get a foul here. Because I thought the same thing. 0.6 seconds left. It's like just enough time for him to foul somebody on a pick. But for the most part, I think this series has been a win for him, House.
An enormous win, an all-time win. I mean, in the same way that we were observing Julius Randle, kind of a rebranding for himself by the excellent performance he had for the Timberwolves in the West
until recently.
I know, but look, for the most part, like who saw that coming, right? And you had to do some research. You had to go back into your basketball reference Bill Simmons database to compare him to some
the
greats.
19 and 9, yeah. Him and Elgin Baylor, him and the
You
greats.
had to do that.
Yeah.
He made you do that. Julius Randle made you do that. But
Towns
Towns
he's
thing
going to
is
make Charlotte give him a weird free agent offer, and that's going to be the only one he gets.
Undoubtedly true. But Towns also, this is like a version of Towns that I don't think anybody could say we've seen this from Karl-Anthony Towns in the playoffs. Like this is the Eastern Conference Finals, for Christ's sakes. It's very impressive to me.
I like how hard he's playing.
Yes.
Me
That's
too.
the big thing for me is like, whatever, the stats are going to come and go, his shots are going to come and go, but he really seems like he fully gives a shit, which I think is, and if I felt that way last year with him too in the Western Finals too. So we've at least gotten over that hump with him, Mahoney.
I think he's had great responses, right? It's like he's been embarrassed a couple times in this series, especially defensively, like we were just talking about. Played off the floor in fourth quarters, taken out of the rotation for critical stretches, like Mitchell Robinson kind of taking his spot a couple times. And then you get a huge response in crunch time. Then you get this response to the Indiana win. I don't know that you can ask a lot more of Towns than this. He's on a bad knee right now, and he's still driving all that much. He's still relatively holding up defensively, again, give or take all the fouls. And credit to him too, gets to kind of punch it through with that final possession before the Pacers took everybody out. It was like Indiana couldn't pull down a defensive rebound. Josh Hart gets it, reroutes it to Towns, pump fake, drive, finish over Mathurin, shrug off everybody. We're going home. He deserves that kind of moment with the series he's had.
Yeah, and the Knicks were like dying to let the Pacers back in the game in the third quarter, and the Pacers weren't. But there was like a 6-minute stretch where it just felt like the ball was flying around off everybody. It's funny you mentioned the Towns playing with a bad knee. Not sure how bad the knee was because it felt like he was doing a lot of stuff out there.
That's true.
It was just I had the hockey game on the smaller TV as I was watching the basketball, and I was just thinking how funny it is. You're at the playoff basketball game, like Karl Towns cutting it out with a sore knee, and then you go to the hockey game and guys like they have just divots in the side of their heads. They're playing with just broken hands or broken orbital bones. It's just funny how different the sports are, House.
And classic Tibs. I mean, with the knee, he had the most minutes of any Knick on the floor, 36 minutes, and he got the most attempts up, 20 attempts. So
his shot,
to it.
What a warrior.
I thought it affected his shot a little bit was the one thing I noticed it, but the barreling to the basket thing, I kind of feel like the knee piece didn't matter, but
maybe so.
I don't know. I've changed my opinion on that trade 100 times since they made it, but now I think Knicks won the trade. That's where I've landed today after watching Julius Randle a couple times against OKC. Big
Can
win
I
for the Knicks.
Yeah.
can I ask you a question? I've already taken a shot at Tibbs, but I think he
Yeah.
coached a great game. I honestly think that him getting four guys on the bench, double digit minutes, at this stage of the playoffs. I mean, we keep exclaiming out loud, we're shocked by this Shamet revelation, but really DeLon Wright and Shamet,
Mm.
and McBride, and I think the move of Hart to the bench, you're still getting the 34 minutes out of him. I
Yeah.
think we got to tip our hat to Tibbs here a little bit, Mahoney.
Completely. I like maybe he should have been here all along. Maybe they should have been playing this way. You know, they brought in DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet a little later in the season, but once they did, maybe those guys should have been in the rotation. That's fine. We can talk about that. I'm here to encourage positive growth. This is Tom Thibodeau, and we're meeting him where he is, which is in a moment of desperation, started turning to these guys and really found something with it. Like, I don't even think it's just a minutes thing in terms of keeping the starters' minutes down. I think having those guys in for meaningful runs where the Knicks are winning on defense, where they're creating all this energy, where they have the momentum, to me, that's taking a lot of pressure off of OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart too. You really don't even dwell or notice on the fact that like those guys can't hit threes right now, aren't really hitting a lot of shots because the Knicks are
Right.
winning with this defensive energy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Their bench, I guess Hart, uh, 2 for 8 from three. And the Knicks, the Pacers seem super happy to give them as many as you want. It's a weird thing for me. I agree that Tibbs coached a good game tonight. I also think it was reprehensible that he didn't ever try to figure out how to use his bench during the season. I remember doing a podcast after that Knicks Celtic game in Boston in like February, where he's just playing those guys huge minutes in this game that ultimately they were either going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. It's like, what are you doing? And I think the Knicks fans in my life, they're just apoplectic that it took until this series, losing game one, to then now experiment with all these different lineups and lineups that really haven't played together all season. But in a way, better late than never, I guess, because it's definitely helped them. I don't know. We've seen Shamet for a few seasons here. I refuse to believe he's like a late bloomer as a playoff asset.
And
I mean,
yet,
there's been a
he's-
bunch of teams that have given up on Shamet, just
Totally.
for record.
But he's out there. And again, like these
Yeah.
lineups are lineups that I would never choose to put on the floor in a must-win playoff game, right? Like lineups that should not work, that should not make sense. But I think it speaks to the fact that like New York's needs right now are less for explosive offense and more for where are they getting that defensive intensity? Who are the guys who are
Right.
really going to pressure, who are really going to play up? And Wright and Shaman have both done that. McBride always does that. And playing those three guys together shouldn't be a thing, but it's a thing. And it's working in this series.
Yeah, and make Indiana turn the ball over and make Halliburton not as comfortable, which they
Yeah.
managed to do. Indiana had 20 turnovers tonight. The Knicks were out rebounding them by 10 for most of the game, and that evened
were.
out a little bit.
Yep.
But I guess from the Knicks side, they were 28% from three, and they won handily. Good sign for them. From the Pacers side, they had 20 turnovers, and it still felt like they were going to make a run, even with like 5 minutes left, with literally nobody playing well except Mathurin. I was like, I still feel like they might get going here. It was a bad Halliburton game.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of smoke, including on this podcast and all of the Ringer podcasts, about the big leap he was taking and how great he was playing. And it just felt like he was flustered from the get-go with all the pressure. My guess is that he'll be fine in game 6.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he
that
was
this is
making
one of those, I looked at the tape, I can't believe how bad I was. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And it will be a different Halliburton, would be my guess.
he was making the big leap, and then he took the big shit, and that happens sometimes. I mean, we saw SGA, the MVP of the league, in what was it, game 3? You know, lay a big fat egg. It happens. The good players.
But when you start talking about like top 20 guys, top 15 guys, top 10 guys, once we go higher up the list, what separates the top 5, top 7 guys, like you noticed that one SGA game when he wasn't very good in game 3. But for the most part, every single playoff game, he's been between 30 and 38 a game.
Yeah.
And consistently scoring and consistently getting his shot. And you just always know you can count on him, you know? And when you go through all the best guys in the league, that's usually in place, which is why even with somebody like Edwards, and people are so disappointed that, oh, what happened to him in the second half of game 4? And why did he seem so comfortable? Because he's being held to a certain standard. I feel like Halliburton had at least was knocking on the door of that level So for him to suck tonight is just like, that's not great. And now
Yeah.
he's going to take it tomorrow on the shows. There's going to be a lot of, they need Tyrese Halliburton to step up. He's going to be the step up guy tomorrow.
Who was that?
Who was the step up guy heading in?
No, who was the voice you just did? Is
That was my generic
all of
them.
ESPN voice. It was all
Every single one.
collage of the voices.
Every one.
I want them to have a segment called Step Up, where they just, each of them just screams at the TV that somebody needs to step up. And then at the end of the segment, they all just look at each other and they tell each other to step up.
Why are you
And they go to
stepping on our
commercial.
content? This could easily be a
You think
Ringer
Step
hottest
Up?
take style
Oh.
podcast. 10-minute segment. Anyone
Step
in the
Up.
world, you know, like any
Just-
world
this is
leaders,
a
Who needs to
great-
step up?
It's
the
amazing.
new pope, anybody. Like it
What
could
a-
be
Democrats need to step up.
Wow,
What an
perpetually.
idea.
Well, that,
Lord have
that-
mercy.
they definitely actually do need to step up. But
Tyrese
Paramount
Halliburton-
Plus's main screen needs to step up because I can't find Mission Impossible.
Whoever's
I-
doing
I-
the UI on those things definitely needs to step
Yeah.
up. It's a disgrace.
Well, anyway, I think Tyrese, but long story short, Tyrese Halliburton might need to step up.
Yes. There's a version of a Tyrese Halliburton game where he shoots 7 times and is still awesome. He's done that before plenty of
Right.
times. This was not that. I think it was distressing how little he was even looking at the rim. And the times where he would turn the corner on the Knicks defense. And it's just like it looks like he's waiting for the breakdown to make the easy pass for the layup that frankly has like been there for the last 3 games or so.
Yeah.
But if you're that guy, if you're a top 20 guy, you are the breakdown. Like that's your job to create that and to capitalize on it. And the fact that he wasn't really looking to score for, I would say at least 2, maybe 2.5 quarters, that it just wasn't enough for where the Pacers were.
House, do you think it's because Michael Imperioli was there? You think he was psyched out? It's one thing to play in front of Chalamet, Spike Lee, some of the stars, but when Christopher's in the house, I don't know. It's a
mean-
different level.
Anything is possible. You don't want Christopher going to the trunk. That's for sure.
He,
I mean,
is Paulie's dead, right? Paulie Walnuts is dead.
I
think he
believe
is.
so. What's
Yeah, that would have been the Knicks move, is to put courtside just all the Sopranos characters, the living ones, just all in a row. But some of the key ones are dead. But I still think that would be a little intimidating. Maybe get all the mafia movies.
Can we pour one out for Miles Teller, though, who was next to Timothy Chalamet, couldn't even get the broadcast shout out? Like he was just the normal guy sitting to the side of Timothy Chalamet. That's Miles Teller.
Tough beat. He's in Top Gun Maverick, for God's sakes. He's in Whiplash. He's been in some big movies. He was just in a movie that led Apple TV. He should have at least gotten a Chiron.
That's what I'm saying. He's at Chiron level at bare minimum.
I agree with that. My son was admiring Chalamet's fit. He likes the chrome heart Knicks pants. He thought was a great job. He thinks Chalamet's done a great job with the fits during the games. I'm not going to bring him in later for a fit thing. Brunson, 6 for 9 in the first quarter, laid the smackdown. I had in the Taylor fade my weekly prop. I did over 30.5 because I thought Brunson was going to have a big game. I think he finished with like 34. But one of the reasons I thought that was because I didn't think Towns was going to be good in this game. So whatever they got from Towns, I wasn't expecting. I'm not positive the Pacers were expecting either. But this Brunson thing, his eyes just light up when Nembhard's. You mentioned it before, Rob. It's like the Nembhard Pacers and then the non-Nembhard. When he sees Halliburton, he looks like House passing an Arby's.
Hey.
No, that's a compliment, House.
I know. That was an excited. Hey,
That was a
from me.
stomach growl.
It was.
I met somebody else who loved Arby's, and I always bring you up when somebody else likes Arby's because you're my number one person.
Like,
that
do you
loves
know each other?
Arby's.
We should.
No, I just feel like it's almost like House is a part owner in Arby's, even though he owns nothing. But
I've invested enough. Believe
you've invested.
believe me.
Thank God for Arby's. Anyway, Jalen Brunson, Rob, go.
I don't know how to come back from Arby's. No, look, there really is only one Pacer who can guard him in this series. He's currently
Yes.
kind of injured, clearly, at least being held back to some degree. I thought it was a sign of, it was representative of Indy's desperation that Ben Mathurin was not only like the only guy who could score, but the only guy they would even trust to guard Jalen Brunson during critical stretches of the second half. Like they gave him that job too, because Ben, like Shepherd can't do it. Nembhard cannot do it. Those guys have no impact, honestly, on Jalen Brunson. And they're good defenders who fight through screens and like can be very effective against any other kind of scorer. But for some reason, Jalen Brunson can just kind of bump them off. He can shoot right over the top of Nembhard. They don't bother him at all. And so if we are watching which injuries are real and which ones are exaggerated, Karl-Anthony Towns, clearly good enough to drive and still be a dominant player in this game. Aaron Nesmith has to be a fully operational member of the Pacers rotation if they're going to slow down
Right.
Jalen Brunson at all.
Well, the recipe for the Knicks to come back from 3-1 house, if you're doing the 2004 Red Sox, don't let us get one. Don't let us get two, whatever Kevin Millar said. It's easier to do it when you have 5 and 7 at home. You win 5, you have to go on the road and take 6. But when the Celtics tried to do this last round, no Jason Tatum, zombie Porzingis, Sam Hauser and a sprained ankle, and the Knicks played the best game they've had and were completely healthy. This Pacers situation, Nesmith not healthy, Turner and Nembhard coming off terrible games, Pacers bench not doing that well, Halburn coming off a bad game, and weirdly some pressure for a team up 3-2. What do you think the line is for the series now, House? Don't look.
Oh, this is a great question.
Yeah.
The Pacers are definitely still favored. Let me think about this. Plus for the Knicks, the Pacers are favored minus 220.
Rob, I can't remember if you know how to do odds.
I'll
let you have a guess if you want.
I'm gonna say they're more than that. I think it's probably more of like a minus 500 or 600.
Oh,
wow!
Still, look at the big balls on Brad.
They're up 3-2.
Minus 370 for the Pacers.
There we go. Split
So
the difference.
right in between the two of us.
Well, the Knicks were minus 5 today, which I jumped out at me immediately because I thought it was gonna be like a minus 2. So Vegas obviously, and FanDuel and everybody else probably liked some of the metrics that were going. I do think they saved Nesmith a little bit.
Yeah.
This is one of those you feel it out. Oh, I didn't realize Miles Turner was going to be hot in this game. Ooh, I didn't realize Walker was going to make 3 threes. But none of those things were happening. And Carlisle was like, all right, I'll save my guy for Saturday night. I'll save this. We're going to take a break for the podcast. Keep going on YouTube. All right. Still here on YouTube. Here's the best thing about tonight. We get a game on Saturday night now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. It's
It
magnificent.
looked like we weren't going to have basketball for a week.
Yeah.
What are we
I'm
gonna
so
do?
happy I'm going to order Arby's. How about that?
There you go.
Dude.
I will have the meats. Me and Jalen Brunson will have the meats. The Jalen Brunson thing that I wanted to observe is that it's a very stupid observation that I made at the top of the show, but they created their force of will. They dictated their pace by the high percentage shots that Jalen Brunson gets and takes. And the same thing is true of Towns. I want, for the record, to say out loud, I tailed the Brunson wager, the Brunson prop,
thank you,
Bill
House.
Simmons. Of course.
That's really nice.
My token, I'm gonna cash that in. But it was based on the idea that Towns might be compromised. He wasn't compromised, but it was based on that. And we also had as a narrative, Knicks aren't going to go out like this. This Knicks team with this Knicks fandom, what they've done in these playoffs, they're not going out with a whimper. They're going to come home and show pride. John Jastrzemski made a great case for why the Knicks would show up and show out tonight, and they did that. And I do think, let me get your guys' take on this. I've said this a couple times, and I think it's, reasonable argument. I think the Knicks have the best 5 in the East. And, that doesn't necessarily mean they're the best team in the East, but I think they have the best 5 in the East.
We argued about this on the phone today because the plus minus stats for the 5-man units do not back this up. And yet I don't think you're wrong.
Well, I think this is why I think you're wrong. Which 5 are you talking about? Because I
Sure.
think there's, is it the Mitchell Robinson 5 or the Josh Hart 5?
It's definitely the Hart 5. But
because the stats say it's the Mitchell Robinson 5.
I understand.
That's the better one.
I get it. I understand the point, but I just, when they have 6, they have 6 guys. They have 5.5 guys, because what you get out of Mitchell Robinson is half a game. You get 20 minutes, or you get 2/3 out of a minutes wise out of him. But I would stack this Knicks 5 up against every other 5 in the East, and I think that's an element of why we're sitting here at this point with a game on Saturday night.
Can I give you another element?
Let's hear it.
This is going to make Rob feel awkward, but this is really House's love language.
I'm terrified of whatever you're about to say. I honestly have no
I
idea.
hope it involves Frank from White Lotus.
No. It's not. Frank is not involved. If Indiana wins one more game, we're going to have an Indiana versus Oklahoma City finals. But if the Knicks win the series, we'll have the Knicks in the finals.
Mm.
And if you've noticed from ratings and interest, it's a little more interesting nationally when there's a New York team in the finals. I'd like to bring you back to the year 2002. Game 6, Portland Lakers. I'm sorry, Game 6, Sacramento Lakers in Sacramento.
Yes.
If Sacramento wins, we're going to have a Sacramento, New Jersey finals. And David Stern was like, not on my watch. This is not happening. We are not letting this happen. And we did not get a Sacramento, New Jersey finals. And be careful. Let's be careful out there for game 6 if you're wagering. Just be careful. Put 2 fouls on Neesmith pretty quickly. I don't know. Conspiracy Bill. I'm not going to dress up like Conspiracy Bill, but it just the 2002 game 6 we've talked a lot about over the years. I'm just saying. It's in the back of my head. It's in the deep recesses of the back of my head.
Well, guess when I remembered it? When Dallas won the effing lottery 2 weeks ago on my birthday. I remembered that 2002 game 6. Weird things happen. Miracles happen.
Weird things. Miracles.
Miracles. NBA miracles.
Miracles. Like Aaron Neesmith having 3 fouls 6 minutes in the first quarter. Like some miracles can happen. You just never know. So we'll have this Indiana game Saturday night, which will be, I'm trying to think if there's been a bigger Indiana game since the 2000 finals. I'm going to say no. Right?
I think the only thing that would even come close is when they had a chance to upset the LeBron Cavs. Like they were in some of those series and had some pressure-packed games.
Right. They never had a chance to, if we win this game at home, we go to the finals.
No.
I don't think they've been in that situation. Because I was thinking during the Pistons when they 03 or 04 range, they played the Pistons a couple times. But yeah, I think, what was the game where Tayshaun Prince blocked Reggie Miller from behind?
The chase
that
down
was in
from half
Indiana,
court.
the chase down thing. But this is the biggest Indiana Pacers game, I think, since the 2000 finals. Game 4, ironically, the Kobe becoming a special player game in OT after Shaq fouls out. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I guess my question, if you're Rick Carlisle, how many Pacers do you trust right now? Because we always see the number starts dropping as the playoff series goes along. How many of these guys do you actually trust?
I thought in this game you could see his patience being tried with Obi Toppin, especially in the first half. Obi
when he tried to dribble through the 2 guys?
That's not going to get you on Rick Carlisle's best side, I would say. I thought TJ McConnell had some bad, momentum halting plays but you kind of have to play him. Like Tyrese Halliburton needs a rest at some point, and Nembhard hasn't been good enough to be your backup point guard on any kind of full-time basis. Is Thomas Bryant going to have to continue to play? How bad is that Tony Bradley hip? I cannot believe I'm talking about Tony Bradley.
Who would have thought a Tony Bradley hip injury would be a game 6 subplot?
But you know what? The Thomas Bryant minutes are that bad that it becomes a subplot. And so I think the guys who are definitely going to be in there, like Shepherd is going to be in there. He's earned the right to have some minutes. He plays conservatively enough. I think he's going to be in the mix. Mathurin clearly over the last 2 games has been one of the Pacers' best players. I'm a little worried about Nembhard at this point though, because in order to not play those bench guys, you have to stretch the starters more. And Neesmith, we'll see what state he's in physically. Obviously, Siakam and Halliburton, and I think Turner on a good night, which these have mostly been good nights for him. You want to play those guys a lot.
Yeah.
Andrew Nembhard didn't just struggle tonight. He struggled now for a week.
It's been 3 awful games in a row.
3 awful games in a row, shooting 20-ish, 23, 24% over those 3 games.
And doing stuff like drives to the layup to get a layup, but then kicking it out when there was one play specifically where Jalen Brunson was the only guy who could come over and try to stop him. And Brunson was coming and he kicked it back out to the corner. It's just lay it up. Just get 2 points.
I think he's got some
the easiest play in basketball. That's what I was thinking. It felt a little yipsy.
Very concerning from that perspective.
Well, I'm going to make you a once in a lifetime offer right now, both of you. As you know, Zach Lowe and I cleaned up on Neesmith Island. It's been a revelation for us. Just unbelievable how it worked out. It's been sorry to everybody we had to turn away in the condo projects. Jarace Walker Island.
Oh,
I did buy some
wow.
property. Not tonight. During the season. Every time he's played, I liked him.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where I don't really understand why he's not playing more. Because I feel like I'm sure, listen, I haven't watched nearly enough Pacers games as the actual Pacers fans. I'm sure like, oh my God, this fucking guy thinks Walker should play more. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I like when he's out there and I think he does good stuff. And I wonder if we see him more in game 6 instead of the Thomas Bryant minutes. Do you just go a little smaller? It's not like what's Robinson? He's going to hurt you on the offensive boards, but it's not like he's going to be posting up whoever it is. They don't post them up. And I wonder if they just try to go small because Walker's a dog. Like he'll fight anybody and fight for position. And I don't know. He seemed really comfortable shooting a couple of those threes tonight. And I thought he was playing hard. Am I crazy, Rob?
You're not. Well, here's the thing. If you are crazy, we're crazy together because I have been on the could Jarace Walker be a playoff X factor for the Pacers?
It sounds like
corner.
you've just bought a plot of land.
Look, the land has been bought. My financial manager has said, like, I am ruining his professional reputation if I continue to buy land on Jarace Walker Island. So
wow, I didn't realize. I saw some lights on down in the island. I didn't know who else that was.
I'm a believer. You know, these lights are pretty bright though, right? Like these now crucial must-win games to get you to the NBA Finals. I thought he played pretty well in this one. And again, like he's gonna make some spotty decisions here and there if he tries to do too much with the ball. But I thought in this game, he was kind of in that Nuggets championship season Christian Brown zone of like, you go to that spot and you stand there. And if you dribble the ball, we will take you out of the game. And you're going to try hard on defense and you're going to fly around. And he was like, he brought some of the athleticism that I thought, you know, if you're taking Obi Toppin off the floor because you don't like some of the choices he's making, you bring in Jarace Walker and you're getting some of it back. Maybe not Obi Toppin level athleticism, but some real pop and some length.
House, you calling your broker, or are you too overextended with the 3 Wizards rookies when you bought all the stock?
I mean,
the Bub Carrington Island.
I have Bub Carrington. I have AJ Green. I mean, you know, AJ Johnson.
Yeah,
AJ Johnson. You got to remember what his name is if you're going to have stock on the island.
What about Johnny Bryant? Are you leveraged on him?
No,
no, and
nothing.
And he never bought any property on Johnny Davis Island.
No.
No. He called in fake fire alarms for Johnny Davis Island, trying to get the island shut down.
I can't say out loud what I really prayed for, but
please don't.
Yeah. Even though it's late night.
House, are you with us on Walker or no?
I like it. Look, I would be interested in getting some of the what's it called? Second spectrum. I want to see some of the data about him on Towns. I'd like to see the idea of him on Towns because Towns is too comfortable. Why are we
letting the basket? Yeah, like
that's what I'm saying.
Think like a smaller guy should just get in and try to make Towns basically bowl him over.
Yeah. Just, I mean, he's got the athleticism. I feel the same way about Toppin. Why isn't Toppin trying to defend Towns? Now, maybe that's true. Maybe there are some matchups there that I'm not like catching as they're occurring in real time. And you certainly don't want Obi Toppin feeling like he can take 10 effing field goal attempts in 18 minutes. That's not permissible. You don't get 10, Obi. You don't get 10. You don't get more than you know, Tyrese Halliburton, okay? Please.
Yeah, well, part of that's Tyrese's fault.
Can I speak for the second spectrum stats real quick? About Jarace Walker on Towns. He's not ready for all that. That's too much.
Okay.
So who's left?
That's kind of it. Like that's the rotation.
Siakam?
I mean, well, I think Siakam's gonna continue. He's gotten some chances. He honestly has not done any better than Turner has.
See, this is the problem with the Pacers in Game 6 is there's a couple foul trouble guys that they don't really have plan Bs for. Yeah. Siakam's one of them. Neesmith, I think, is another one, and then Halliburton, obviously. But I don't know.
I mean, I think we know the way that the Pacers guard Towns in this series, and it's you make him a defensive liability or you foul him off the floor. Like those are really the two options for them, and they've been pretty effective both throughout most of this series. It's just when he does manage to stay on the floor, he can get by Turner so easily that it creates problems everywhere.
Can we go big picture? Can we go big picture on the Knicks for a second? Because I feel like I've watched 6 months of Knicks playoff games at this point, pretty intently. Don't ask why, but I really enjoyed that Piston series.
What do you mean? Don't ask why. It's good basketball. It's fun. It's interesting.
Are the Knicks? We always talk about good hangs, like we even called the Amy
Mm.
Poehler podcast "Good Hang." Are the Knicks a good hang? It's just for casual basketball fans who don't care, obviously other than the betting pieces. But is it fun to watch this Knicks team? Because I haven't really totally decided yet. I find myself more aggravated by them than enjoying them. With Towns, like all the facial expressions and him calling Brunson. Um, the cuts to Tibs, he has the same look on his face all the time. It just looks like he's trying to pass a kidney stone. Brunson's never smiling. All that, the bridges, the fact that nobody seems to realize that every time he goes to a spot and jumps backwards, and everybody forgets that that's his jump shot every time.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson just bowling guys over from behind, getting offensive rebounds. I just find myself frustrated watching them, and I have no skin in the game. I think I've seen too many Knicks games, Rob.
I think they're pretty fun. I honestly, I think
Okay.
this is a cat litmus test to me, because you're right. Some of the personalities on the court are not the most emotive. Like OG Anunoby, you're not going to get a lot out of during the game.
No, blank slate.
But I enjoy the cat experience, the ups and the downs, the dramatic turns. Like I am here to see, like, every night, can this guy stay on the floor? Can this guy get out of his own way? Can he be the all NBA caliber player he proved to be this season that we all know he's capable of being? Can he be that when you need it? And those have been some of the most satisfying moments of this Knicks run, are the moments
think
where
you're
Cat
right.
steps up.
I think he's right, House.
I agree. How about this? I fucking love these Knicks.
There we
I'm
go.
into them.
Wow. Okay.
I think
I'm glad
it
we're
is a
talking about this.
Great time.
I think I'm bitter about the Celtics thing, and I think that's tainted.
Yeah, I never would've guessed
I'll
that.
just put all cards on the table. I might still be bad. Go ahead, House.
Especially when they're at MSG. I think that they have engendered this love and being reminded of what a great venue, like historic precedent important basketball has happened at MSG.
And presidential.
All of them, all the P's.
Probably a president there.
All the P's happen at MSG. But it's been a really fun ride watching this team, who I think the off-season stuff was a goddamn miracle. How did they get Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns? How did they do
they
that?
traded every asset they had. That's,
You know
that's how they
what?
got them.
It was effing worth it.
Yeah.
They're in the Eastern Conference Finals in year one, and I think it's like a 3-year run, and they can. I do. Yeah, I mean, the combination of where they are.
I feel like everything's on the table. You could tell me this is Tibbs' last game at coach on Saturday. You could tell me they're gonna have Giannis next year. I'm ready for anything with them.
This is the East, though. Like there's that thing where you write your name on the SAT and you get 200 points. You play in the Eastern Conference, like that's
True.
14
It's 41
wins.
wins.
Like, I think you're gonna be all right there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Their
I will say one
offensive
thing.
Efficiency all season was so good.
House, I agree with you on MSG, and it's fun to have the celebrities there. I will say this. I have noticed this over and over again. The people courtside around the area, a lot of people on the phones.
Oh,
And I think the Knicks fans have to really police it. I'm not saying it's not like the Chalamet guys, but there'll be somebody shooting free throws, and you'll see behind, and it'll be in the front row, and it'll be 6 people just texting. And it's like, you're at game 5 of the fucking Eastern Conference Finals, and you guys have a reputation as being some of the best basketball fans in the earth, and you're sitting on the wood. Get off your fucking phone.
Well, plus,
Get off your phone.
It could be Mitchell Robinson shooting, in which case it's
Right.
a
You might get hit by
you gotta be careful.
Might
Great
get hit
point.
by a field goal.
That's
All right,
right.
so who wins game 6? It's in 48 hours.
Pacers.
I don't think I'd bet it.
Do you
Either
want-
way,
you're
I think
just
just
moving back.
stay
Do we
away.
wait to see who the refs are?
It's,
come
it's
on.
something I'm definitely going to do on Saturday.
Did we get a Tony Brothers?
Tony Brothers? What's wrong with Tony? Calls a solid game. Now,
see
I
the
need to
extender?
think about it some more.
The extender? Monday,
I'll say this.
Game
I think it'd be
7 was
really tough to beat
incredible.
this Pacers team 3 games in a row with how one of those games they're going to have a really good offensive game. One of those games, Carlisle's going to figure out something. But I think I'd probably lean Pacers because I just think their style, especially at home, I believe in it. but it does. The Neesmith 15 minutes today does scare me a little bit.
It should. I think that combined with Nemhard being this bad, like that is a little bit spooky. But
Turner will be better at home.
Turner will be better.
TJ
Halliburton is
McConnell
gonna
will be better at home.
Yeah.
Today was dying for the random TJ McConnell. I'm just going to take over a quarter for 6 minutes, but he did the opposite. But he has that in him, which they need. I'm trying to think from a Knicks standpoint, probably hitting a bunch of threes. Brunson has to be around 30. They need something major from Towns, and they need the bench guys to be decent. Would be the recipe. You guys both talked about OKC on your on podcast this week, but why do you think people are so begrudgingly careful about calling them a great team?
Because they're young, I think mostly. I think people
if they just
always
don't fit the
hesitant.
profile.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're profile wise, they're like closer to like the Iverson Sixers or something. It's like, but if you supercharge their defense and also supercharge Allen Iverson, and that's not a formula that we're used to like wrapping our heads around. You know, a defense first team that is this defense forward in the modern NBA is a bit of an anomaly on this stage.
I told House this on the phone today. They've played 9 playoff games at home. They won 8 of them by 51, 19, 43, 7, 32, 36, 15, and 30. And they lost one game to Denver in game 1. They're up 9 with 3 minutes left and lost the game by 2. This is about as dominant of a home team as we've seen through 3 rounds. And I think that crowd, I think their young guys are more comfortable at home to begin with. It's usually when they go up 8 to 10 and their defense takes it over. I just think like, I was saying to House, I really regret not just banging the blowout odds for every game because we should have seen it. Because especially the history of the playoffs, young teams like this built around a talented guy, they usually kind of kick everybody's ass like this.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, even watching the game tonight, I'm just hard pressed to think either of those teams have much of a chance, right?
I mean, look at the way the Pacers responded to Knicks level defensive pressure.
Right.
And think about the decisions that sometimes Cat will make on the move, or OG or Mikal Bridges will make on the move as they try to navigate through the lane and they're trying to make those connecting passes you have to make. I don't see it. I think the Thunder should and will be a heavy favorite against either of these teams. They deserve that. They are a great team. They're an all-time team, kind of like hiding in plain sight.
All that is 100% true, and I will be banging hard every one of their home games, and playing alt spreads and everything. But on the perception question, I think, it's right to think about this whole season in context. The league kind of has a role in this. Like, the league isn't out there promoting SGA. It wasn't back in October. We were looking. We
said this all year. We've all done it on our. I remember doing a whole monologue about this, about LeBron and Curry. We love those guys, but
Durant.
It's time to start pushing the new dudes, and they're just over and over again hinging on LeBron and Curry on these Saturday night ABC games. It's not like they didn't know OKC was going to be good, House. Their over-under was like 61 wins.
The thing that I shared with you when we were talking earlier, I'm interested in Rob's opinion. SGA didn't help himself in the Olympics. Like, remember, the Olympics did sort of, give everybody a big burst of basketball in August, and it was high level basketball. The competition was incredible, and it took an amazing, like, end of legacy kind of game by Steph, another career defining, legacy defining game by Steph to put them to night. And SGA in Canada was forecasted to make a nice little run, and they made a run again right to the toilet because they stunk. They stunk bad. They were not good. Jamal Murray was horrendous. SGA and Lou Dort. They were loaded. That Canadian team was good, and they
always are
better.
I feel like I've been waiting.
They always are.
Yeah, my entire adult life for Canada basketball to be a real minted thing. And it never pans out no matter who's on the roster. They're always quite talented. It's an incredible pipeline of basketball ability and skill and development. And for whatever reason, they just do not play well in international play.
That's why they're not good enough to be our 51st state, Rob.
Wow. Okay.
This is why we keep projecting their resume.
Step up, Canada. Step up.
So SGA in 16 playoff games this year, 29.8 points a game. And I think that even would have been better, but a lot of these games have been blowouts. He's playing almost 3 minutes a game, more than 3 minutes a game, less than he did last year in the playoffs. He's now at his last 26 playoff games. He's at 30 a game. Which, look, the stats are a little skewed. It's a little like late 90s baseball steroids just because the pace is different. Points are up. But if you're a guard scoring 30 a game for a long sample size, I think that might even go up in the finals. And in some of these games, just getting any shots he wants in the biggest moments, it's really, really impressive. What he did those first 3 rounds was as impressive as I don't know, anything I've seen from a 2 guard in the last 25 years. It's up there with any of Kobe's playoff runs. I don't want to put it with the Wade 06 because what Wade
That's
did
a
in the
different
finals,
thing,
especially, like that was just him up by himself, just willing them. But it's way up there, and I don't think he's a finished product yet. Do you, Rob? It feels like we're like 90% there.
He's a different player than he was 6 weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
his development through these playoffs has been a huge story and part of the reason they're here. His ability to adapt to the variety of defenses that have been thrown at him. Like you would think if you're someone like Shea, you've seen everything, but you kind of haven't until you get into these 7-game dogfights over and over against dramatically different teams. I think he's aced kind of all those tests. Like he's had
Me too.
moments where this game in crunch time, maybe I don't love the shot selection. This game, maybe the percentages aren't there, but on balance, you just see the line going up and up and up. And from the Thunder perspective, what more could you ask for than that?
There's been some revisionist history, House, and I even might have been guilty on it on this pod a couple times recently. No, just I think we all liked the trade when it happened. And now it seems like the worst trade of all time, the Paul George and the SJ and the picks. But when it happened, we were all like, that's amazing. The Clippers were dead in the water. This was the way that they could get Kawhi Leonard, who had just won the finals MVP for Toronto. And basically they're trading all this stuff for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And they didn't want the Lakers to get him. And Ballmer was an owner for 5 years. And he had to do this to keep the Lakers from getting Kawhi Leonard, and also like this made them the favorites to win the title in 2020. So they gave up a lot, but I to me that it's not as bad as the Durant trade, which I think when the Suns did that one, we were like, man, that's a lot. I get why they did it, but holy shit, and you have no outs now after this trade. With the Clippers, it was like they had one way. Now you could argue, should they have played poker with Kawhi and just been like, look, we're back. Just sign with us. We have all these assets. We're going to be able to keep building around this and just kind of talk them into it because it didn't seem like he wanted to play with the Lakers. But I don't know. I that trade, it's easy to say 5 years after the fact it's a complete catastrophe because it is. But I think the reasoning behind it was solid. What do you think, House?
I thought it was a worthwhile gamble at the time under the circumstances and in the context, and you just kind of laid it out. But the real animus there, driving animus to driving force, was Ballmer trying to do something with that franchise, like
invigorate, not even reinvigorate them, invigorate them.
Invigorate, exactly right. And that's fair. Like he's the owner, he's the guy with the money, and they're trying to do a thing. So they had to pay a price for it. It just turned out that the price exceeded what they imagine, and that happens.
Well, and SGA turned out to be I think a way better player than anyone expected, even though we all liked him.
Yes.
And they also nailed the picks, Rob, which like you look at all the picks New Orleans got from the Lakers, and it's sometimes you nail the picks, sometimes you don't. Like they took Jalen Williams at the 12th pick.
Yep.
Right. And he's the second best player in the team. They tanked for 3-4 months to get the Chet Holmgren thing. But they also had to get the ping pong balls in the top 3, which is House can attest. Doesn't always work even after you spend the whole year trying to lose. Oh, it's true. So there was some luck with them.
Yes.
They made an awesome trade, and the Jalen Williams pick was great, and they were lucky to get in the lottery. They smartly took Chet. Everything they did was super smart. But that trade, I don't think you can look at it and be like, oh my God, that's the worst trade ever. I would go the other way. I would say that's like one of the best trades ever. Turning Paul George into all the stuff they got. Sure. All they gave up was Paul George.
Yeah.
All the stuff they got back, it shouldn't be discussed as worst. It should be discussed as best.
An incredibly worthwhile gamble for the Thunder, given their circumstances, to recoup all that for Paul George.
And they knew they had to get rid of Russ too.
Yeah. And for the Clippers, I still completely get it. You put yourself back in those circumstances, it still makes sense to me. Like the premise still makes sense.
It's a great trade.
I think honestly, like that trade has been amazing. And we've spent, I would say, the last maybe 18 months or so debating on and off. Do the Thunder need to make some kind of move? Like, should they cash in some of these picks that they've stockpiled for another player? Is Jalen Williams going to be a good enough second star? They made the big trade to get Shea, and they did not make the big mistake of trading away and disrupting what, as we're saying, is clearly a great team, is clearly a championship worthy team. Like they invested in that project and they're fucking there. Like they are right there on the precipice of doing everything they set out to do.
It's amazing. It's an amazing what if, because if they lost to Denver, like I do think they'd be cashing in some chips.
Maybe.
I mean,
Yeah, the sliding doors for them is what if Aaron Gordon doesn't hurt his groin? I still think they probably win by 20, but I think that Denver team with healthy Aaron Gordon was Michael Myers, and they just were not. I think once Denver fell behind 15 in that game, they kind of knew. And that's been, I think you and I were talking about this today, House. The thing that's special about this OKC team beyond the obvious stuff is they really do break teams during a series. And in all three series, the team they were playing against hit a point, and you could really feel it in that Minnesota series. It was 26-9, and it's like, this game's over. You're not coming back against OKC. Their defense is too good. This is a wrap. You know where it's going, and you can kind of feel the energy from Minnesota go sideways. And they had limitations, and the Conley thing was, I think, as the series went on, even more disastrous than we could have predicted. But the type of team that should be able to hang with them, unless you have somebody like Jokic, is a team that plays like Indiana. I just don't know if they have the horses, but the up and down pace, like let's get in a track meet, that 128-126 Minnesota game 4, that to me is the model of how the Pacers can hang with them. But there's a reason the OKC is minus 750 on FanDuel to win the title right now. Minus 750, House. That's like the biggest since you're talking like Warriors, I don't know, 2018.
I am nothing if not a creature of recency bias, right in the kisser. But the Pacers have no chance. That's a 4-1 series because the thing that OKC did to Minnesota, which was strangle them like a python.
They'll be able to do it to Indiana.
When they go all the way up to the free throw line and say, "Oh, you want to bring the ball up? Go ahead." Like, and they start like mini trapping. Forget it. No chance.
What's interesting is Indiana can do the flip side to OKC. It's not like OKC has like a real point guard. And you could try to do the same thing, but I just think OKC's defense is better. Rob, who do you think has a better chance from I'll give you either side, Knicks, OKC, Knicks or Indiana going to the next round?
I think there's no question Indiana has a better chance.
Okay.
Like the only way to beat the Thunder is to be unbelievably precise with your passing. And, you have Tyrese Halliburton has these amazing 15 assists, 0 turnover games. Overall, it's an incredibly low turnover offense. I suspect that would change if they meet in the NBA Finals. I think the pressure ratcheting up is going to be a totally different thing. And it speaks to what you mentioned, Bill, about the way that the Thunder break teams, the way that they kind of break your spirit. I think a lot of it is game 1, you go in, you think you know what they are, you see it, it's tough. You have to go, okay, we're going to go back, we're going to look at the film, we're going to figure out where the holes are. You look at the film and it's like there kind of are no holes, or they're vanishingly small.
Yeah.
And however you think playing against the Thunder is going to be, they are so much faster and more frenetic than you anticipate. And so even like by the time you get to game 3, it's like, I just don't think there's anything here. Like, I don't know what the mechanism is, again, short of, as you said, having Nikola Jokic on your team, a guy who can see over the top of that entire defense and try to make 99th percentile passes out of it. Short of that, I honestly don't know what you do. That's not to say that they're unbeatable. I just don't know what the formula is.
Yeah, they cause turnovers that you see in like an 8th grade basketball game of just like
that's true
long lob passes that just get picked off for a dunk. I'll give you one case for Indiana that I thought was interesting. I looked this up. There's been 10 teams ever that have won 10 playoff games and averaged at least 28 assists a game. Here are the teams. The 85 Lakers won the title. 33.7 assists a game, by the way. 82 Lakers won the title. 84 Lakers went to a game 7 in the finals. 80 Lakers won the title. 86 Celtics won the title. Number 6 all time, Indiana. 86 Houston made the finals. 19 Warriors should have won the title, made the finals. 87 Lakers won the title, and the 17 Warriors won the title. Those are 10 teams that did that. And that made me think, like, maybe this Indiana team's a little more rare offensively than we're giving it credit for. And then they stink tonight. And that's why I waited 53 minutes to read you that list. It's all ready to lead with that if they won tonight.
Here's the thing. We saw a valiant effort out of Minnesota, last night. You can try and score with Oklahoma City. That your best bet is to like score with them because they go gaps, where they're just a little too happy with taking shots that are just like comfortable, and they'll go a couple minutes without making a bucket. I mean, Shea can always get to the lane, get inside the lane, and get a floater off or get to the rim if he wants to. But
House, we're old. We've seen a lot of great scorers. Shea's getting way up there for me.
Way up there.
I can't believe how easily he gets whatever shot he wants, no matter how much the defense is throwing stuff at him. Like, Kobe was more on that Jordan side of, and I think Wade would just either go to the basket or he would shoot. He didn't have a 3-point shot. He was so athletic, he could always figure out a way to kind of bounce off people and get in. Shea, the way he navigates, it's honestly like watching a hockey player. The way he kind of skates around until he gets what he wants, and then he gets a shot he wants.
Well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to say Gretzky. Like he moves that way. He moves angles. Like he has shoulder tilts to the getting off his stuff where he's avoiding contact.
And then the footwork to finish. And
yes.
He always finishes. He always finishes the whatever the great move was, which most guys, this is Jason Tatum was his biggest issue. He'd have these great moves and he wouldn't finish half the time. Shea finishes every time.
He finishes every time.
Crazy good finisher. Like the way his length and the way he extends around the basket is so hard to counter. The mid-range game is basically unstoppable no matter what your size is. Like there's not a lot you can do. And you can have the conversation about the way he's officiated, but he also plays through contact to shoot. This isn't James Harden pulling up through your arms and throwing the ball literally straight up in the air. Like he is playing to complete plays. And he honestly will convert a lot of and ones, or kind of would be or should be and ones in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I don't feel like when I was complaining a couple of times about how he was being called, I don't really blame him for some of the calls. It's just for whatever reason, refs gravitate towards certain styles. And for him, he has that way of when he drives, he can throw his left arm out and they usually think it's a foul. Sometimes it isn't, but I don't think that's the reason. I mean, to me, it's the footwork and just the herky jerky stuff, the stop start. His stop start stuff is the best. I feel like it's even gone up a level in the playoffs. I just have not seen a lot of guys like him. I really think like this start to finish year for him, they have a chance to go 84-18 for a season, which puts them in this whole like highest possible level of dudes. And he's just 32 a game night after night. And it's not like, oh, he had that 75-point game that skewed his average. It's every night it's 32, 38, 31, 35, 37, 29, 39. And it's just the steadiness of it, especially on a team where you kind of don't know who else is going to be steady offensively. Like they haven't shot the ball well from three all playoffs, Rob, and it hasn't mattered.
No, I mean, they'll have select guys who will pop off here and there, but the defense is so good and Shea is so good. And I think in enough games, Jalen Williams has been so good.
Yeah.
That triangulated together is enough to be an incredibly dominant, potentially historically dominant playoff team. Like, I think what you described about Shea being that rock solid as a scorer, like he doesn't have these Tyrese Halliburton games. He doesn't even have the off Jalen Brunson games where he'll, shoot 6 for 19 from the field or whatever. Like it's just always going to be there. And the fact that you can bank on that every night as a team gives you immense freedom to play guys like Alex Caruso and stretch them as far as you can, like relative non-scorers. Play guys like Lou Dort even more than you would otherwise be able to get away with. Have the odd game from Chet where he, can't quite hit from three and isn't a factor offensively in the way you would want, but who cares because Shea has 39. Like I think you just have so much you can make up for when you have those two things as your two tent poles. Shea putting in 30 plus, a defense like that. It's incredibly tough to beat.
We say this every time a team, and they have it obviously need 4 more games, but we always say like, you immediately start talking about how long could this go? Could this keep going? How many could they get? This feels like the safest bet to have like 2 in a row or 3 in a row since
let's start with
the
one.
Warriors.
Like,
right.
let's
If
not
it
get too
happens.
far ahead of it. But yeah.
Because I still feel like they're probably going to be better next year.
Yeah.
Everybody comes back. The only thing I could see changing is if they traded Lou Dort because they had to move some money around. But it's going to be the same team a year older. Not, all of their young stars aren't even close to their primes except for Shea. So we'll see. I'm sure they're licking their chops, hoping this Indiana-New York game goes 7 and more people get are playing semi-injured. Do you have a TV show recommendation for House once basketball ends for 5 days?
I'm here.
I'm trying to figure it out. Everything's ending right now. I think we're about to check out Stick, the Owen Wilson golf comedy on
the
Apple.
golf one.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what's going on with Stick.
That's right in my wheelhouse. There we go.
We got some stuff next month.
Sick.
The Bears coming back.
Oh yeah.
Can I say out loud that the last season of the Bear bored the shit out of me?
I think
it was a transition season. It's fine.
Definitely can say it out loud.
It's also not a show that was meant to be binged.
Yeah.
It should be 2. House, I have a show for you.
I'm listening.
It's the Mormon, the Mom Talk Moms on Hulu, whatever that show is. The
What's
reality
it called?
show.
Oh, it's a reality show?
Yeah, it's these Mom Talk Moms. It's not a Real Housewife show. It's like Mormon something.
Let me ask a question that's delicate on live YouTube.
Be careful, House.
How much menopause is involved?
Oh,
no, they're younger. They're all like young Mormon.
That's a relief. Okay.
Is this the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
That's what it is, House.
Hey, but wait, are they on Montauk?
They're on Mom Talk. They're Mom Talk. No, not on not Mom Talk. They're called Mom Talkers.
Mom Talk.
I was watching with my daughter. This
What's
is
your
my
mom
favorite
talk?
show.
The
My
mom
daughter's
part
home,
of
so I'm
TikTok.
watching bad television shows like this again. But
See, I don't.
there was a swinging scandal, House.
Oh, I'm in. That's not a scandal if you're Mormon. Oh shit.
Well, it was a scandal
you're not allowed to
because
say that.
no, well, that was the thing. It violated the religion. It also violated some friendships, and there was some
Which
healing to do.
religion?
The Mormon, like they,
Okay. All right. I'm gonna
there
stop.
some stuff was House. Let me tell you, it's in your wheelhouse.
Okay, good. All right. I'm here for it.
And then it's episode 4. It'd be like, it would be cool if you guys all went on vacation and then played games where you guys got into fights with each other. And of course they do that.
All right.
So anyway, for me and
All
my
right,
daughter,
you're
it was really a win all the way around. So that's
Mom
my
Talkers.
recommendation.
Is that what it's called?
Secret Lives of Mormon something.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. House.
I don't get the
Rob's
categories on
mortified.
TikTok.
I don't know if they're cranking out the Secret Live show in Rob's house. Secret
so
Lives
much.
of Mormon Wives. That's what, that's
Secret
the
Lives of Mormon Wives.
title. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have
Sure.
died inside during this segment, but we live on.
Rob,
We're gonna be
give
reborn
it a
tomorrow.
whirl.
Welcome.
Just get 40 minutes out of your
Well-
life. We might not have basketball in 2 days.
It's fair.
I remember trying to talk House into Laguna Beach 20 years ago.
You
Mission
didn't have to try very
accomplished.
hard.
Well, because was already watching it.
Didn't really have to bend my arm.
Yeah. All right. Rob Mahoney, are we going to see you? When are we seeing you on group chat?
Well, the good news is now that we have a Saturday game, we're gonna have a Saturday group chat. So
Yes.
There you go.
Tune in
All
for
right.
us on Saturday
Let's
night.
go. Let's
House,
go.
we'll talk gambling. Thanks to Gahao and
Can't wait.
Eduardo as well. Thanks to everybody who stayed with us on the YouTube live, and I will see you on Sunday. Have a great weekend. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bill.